Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Eagles pregame show. Bo Wulf, Jamie Lynch will be joined by Zach Berman live from SoFi Stadium in a little bit. We are just over a half an hour away from kickoff between the 4-0 Philadelphia Eagles and the 2-2 Los Angeles Rams. The Eagles looking to stay undefeated. Jamie, how do you feel about their chances today?
I think it's going to be a tough game. I do. But it's nice to have a West Coast home field advantage. So hopefully that comes into play today. I'm sure there's going to be a shit ton of Eagles fans out there because nice weather, Southern California, good excuse to get out there. I think they're going to pull it out, but I think it's going to be a tough game. I think a lot's kind of got to go right. A lot of that we're going to get into here coming up, but one of those is this guy named Cooper Kupp's returning, and in his absence, the Rams have replaced him with your fantasy football waiver pickup of the year,
right.
A guy that's going to win some people some championships out there. He doesn't seem to be slowing down at all in Puka. So, you know, they got their hands full today. I think this is a tough test.
I think that the Eagles are going to have to play their best game of the season in order to win this game.
Yeah.
I think if they play sort of the way that they have played these first four games, I think they would probably not come out with a win today. I think some of the things that the Rams do very well are designed to test the Eagles where they have been weak so far, and so I think it's going to be an interesting game. We're going to get into all of that. I'm grateful for the MLB scheduling for giving you a day off here.
This is great here. I mean, my voice is shot. If you're familiar with my voice, apparently I can't attend to playoff baseball games and not have my voice just be shot. So I did have a little honey and tea this morning.
Nice, good for you. Had a birthday party yesterday?
Yeah, I had a 2-year-old rager at my house yesterday. There was Sesame Street cupcakes everywhere. But yeah, this is a great time of the year. October is an awesome month in the sports calendar, and it helps when the Phillies are the hottest team in baseball and looking to go on a run here. Nice little off day. I'm not going to sugarcoat it this morning. It was hard for me to turn my attention to the birds.
Sure.
But being that it was a 4 o'clock game, you got that first round of football under your belt. You know, you had the London game earlier today. And it's like, all right, the wheels started turning. Now it's go Birds time. Yeah,
we'll see if any Eagles can come up with the sort of a Trey Turner play today. Tough to equal.
Yeah, it was cool to see AJ Brown, a former baseball player himself, talk about watching that crowd on Tuesday and Wednesday at Citizens Bank Park and being like, damn, I can't wait to play in those types of environments here in Philadelphia. So it's really cool to see the synergy between teams going on right now, and hopefully the Eagles can, keep that rolling here today.
Well, if they're going to do that, they're going to do it without Fletcher Cox, who is out for this game, as are, according to the inactives, Sidney Brown, the rookie safety, Marlon Tuipulotu, the depth defensive tackle, and then some of the usual suspects here. Rashad Penny is inactive. Albert Okwuegbunam is inactive, and Tanner McKee is the third quarterback for the Eagles today. That means that Bradley Roby is active from this game, signed earlier this week, up from the practice squad. It seems like he's going to be involved in the defense. We will talk to Zach in a little bit about maybe exactly how much that's going to be. Is he going to be the starting nickel in this game where they have to deal with Cooper Kupp's return and dealing with the communication in the back end that they have struggled with a little bit through 4 games.
Yeah, I think when we all saw the Roby signing, we went, okay, this is a move to get Bradbury back to the outside.
Eventually.
Like you said, though, we don't know what he was able to pick up in just that week's time. Maybe it's something he's familiar with. I don't really know. But we'll see how much. I would imagine you don't want to have Bradbury going inside, outside during the course of the game constantly. So, yeah, I'm very curious to see the Roby Bradbury, kind of position chess match here today and what they do with it.
That's our sound effect for a good point made by
One.
By Jamie. So good job by Jamie. Eagles set to start Sua Opeta at right guard.
I was just
going to
say, this is a big day for you.
Big day for me against Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald, who, despite his dominance over the past decade, has never sacked a quarterback against the Eagles.
Say.
And so,
yeah, they always seem to play him well.
A big target on Sua's back there. The Eagles placed Cam Jurgens on injured reserve yesterday. That means he will be out for at least 4 games. Tyler Steen and Moro Ojimo active for the very first time. That means that probably there are no PHLY winners this year. That is somebody who is inactive for all 17 games. Now, Tanner McKee, third quarterback, we could debate that. That's for another time. We'll get to that later.
So how is the Bo vibe check going here with Sua? This is probably
I feel good about Sua.
Yeah, his toughest test maybe to date.
I feel good about Sua.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
record on the line.
If you can hold Aaron Donald to like a sack, I think that's fine. But yeah, I think Sua is playing at a high level. I'm not too worried about Sua.
Good.
I would say. For the Rams, the one inactive of note for them is Joe Noteboom, their starting offensive lineman. He is inactive.
Name.
Great name. He's generally their starting right guard, played left tackle last week, but Alaric Jackson, their usual starting left tackle, is back. Kevin Dotson is likely to start at right guard, so no Joe Noteboom for the Eagles. But I think that defensive tackle rotation is going to be interesting today for the Eagles.
Yeah.
With no Fletcher Cox and no Marlon Tuipulotu, that means that Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and Milton Williams are all going to have their snap counts pushed up a little bit. None of those guys has played more than half of a game this season so far, and so I would imagine that the Rams are going to try to wear those guys out a little bit if they get a chance to.
Yeah, Milton Williams is the guy that's like on any other team in the NFL is probably, like second, third on the depth chart.
Right, everybody's super excited about Milton Williams.
Yeah, and here he's just kind of unfortunately buried by a Hall of Famer and then 2 young phenoms from Georgia. So this is a big chance for him today. He's been really impressive in his young career so far. So hopefully this is an opportunity for him to really shine out there. They need the defensive line. I mentioned to you when we were watching the 1 o'clock games out there, I thought last week was the defensive line's worst game of the year so far. Especially when the Commanders were coming off a game where they had allowed 9 sacks the week prior. Just had some holes there, and the Eagles couldn't seem to take advantage of it. So we'll see today like how quickly Stafford is getting the ball out. It seems like Hal did a really good job getting the ball out quick last week. That seems to be a focus of teams playing the Eagles here. But I think the defensive line needs to show up big time today.
Excuse me, and Stafford coming off that bum hip. So we'll see how much of a factor that is in the game. But before we get back to that, let's send it out to Los Angeles. Zach Berman, the man who is closing the circle on his beat writing trip around the world, his circumnavigation of the National Football League. This is
big day.
The last stadium you haven't been to, Zach. How is it? How do you feel? Did they greet you with a parade? What's the deal? What's going on?
Ticker tape.
Can you hear us? We cannot hear you, actually.
Yeah, but we're gonna figure that out, Zach. But yeah.
You know what? We even did a test run before the show, and it was working then. So
yeah. So this is Zach's last stadium he's never been to.
You
today.
look good though, Zach. I would say.
Yeah. I was trying to do the math out there with you, Bo. I think SoFi and about 3 or 4 other stadiums are the only ones I haven't been to. So I know this is a big day for Zach to check the entire NFL stadium off the bucket list here. So minutia in the chat, Zach says, "Kiss me. You look very handsome." So looking dapper as ever.
Give us one more word here, Zach. See if we can hear you. No, unfortunately we can figure that out, but no dice right now. Maybe you can pull
no whammy.
Maybe you can pull a Jordan and give us some of your. Again, that sounds good. Okay.
The old unplug replug.
What else are you gonna do?
I mean, it's
blow on it.
There he is.
Hey, oh, we can hear you.
The old unplug replug always works.
Hello.
Yeah. That worked. I mean, great to see you guys. I've been watching a lot of Jamie recently on the PHLY Phillies podcast. Been seeing a lot of Bo. Not the first time I've seen that purple sweater come out. You look like Kevin O'Connell on the sideline of a Vikings game here with the quarter zip.
I can't believe.
can't
Can you
hear
believe, Jamie, that Zach shaved this morning and he's still got such a 5 o'clock shadow? The man grows hair at an unbelievable pace.
I don't have a pithy remark for that one, but I appreciate it.
You're like Homer. It just grows right back in. Zach, I think the big question for the Eagles personnel-wise in this game is what exactly are we expecting from Bradley Roby? Is he going to be the full-time nickel here? I don't know if you've had a chance to see them warm up on the field before game. What's your expectation?
So we can cue up some breaking news music here
Whoa.
because I was surprised watching pregame warmups not to see Bradley Roby with the first team defense. Rather, I saw Mario Goodrich with the first team defense, which is odd because Mario Goodrich has been on the roster all throughout. They haven't felt compelled to go to Mario Goodrich in these recent weeks. They bring in Bradley Roby ostensibly to be the top guy in the slot. And in the pregame warmups, Bradley Roby was with the second team defense. Mario Goodrich was with the first team defense. Now, part of this could be them managing Roby snaps, that they're going kind of half Goodrich, half Roby. But I was quite surprised to see that during pregame warmups. That's why I'm here. That's why you have to be on the scene to get that type of info.
Zach, if they go with Mario Goodrich, I feel like, I mean, you know, it's a 4-0 team. The Phillies are in the playoffs playing well. Philadelphia might burn if, nonetheless, if Mario Goodrich is the starting nickel in this game. They just benched the guy 2 weeks ago. They gave him his first shot, and he wasn't even active. They thought he was. That's how bad they thought he was. They're going to make him the starting nickel in this game. I can't believe that.
I was quite surprised to see that. Perhaps they were trying to run one by everybody else, right? Make teams think, or not make teams, make the other team think it's Goodrich. But typically what you see during pregame warmups is how they come out during the game. So I was surprised to see it. Those who were sitting next to me were surprised to see it. I made sure that I saw multiple reps there. So it wasn't just like I picked off one and made a big deal out of it. No, it was Mario Goodrich during pregame warmups.
So, Zach, on the same side of the ball defensively, I thought last week the defensive line probably had their worst game of the year. And I say that because Sam Howell was getting rid of the ball pretty quickly. And that might be something that a lot of teams focus on. You can't really hit the quarterback if you're getting rid of it in 2.1, 2.2 seconds. Was there talk of that this week? How do you think Matt Stafford and his bum hip are going to try and execute the game plan today versus the Eagles in a similar manner?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I don't say this tongue-in-cheek, but for the past decade covering this team, every time the defensive line doesn't play the way they should, and I go in the locker room, I ask them about it, they say, well, they got rid of the ball so quickly, right? That's like the thing that they always lean back on. But it was true. Sam Howell did get rid of the ball quickly, and that is how teams try to combat them. And you always hear how rush and coverage are kind of married to each other, right? If you cover well, there's more time to rush, and vice versa. If you rush quickly, they get rid of the ball quicker. I think that you're going to see the Sean McVay offense here. You're going to see play action. You're going to see tempo. You're going to see movement behind the line of scrimmage. It's the illusion of complexity. Is that what they always say about it?
Yes.
It's kind of they dress things up in different ways, and certainly with Cooper Kupp back, they can do that. But as far as what the Eagles defensive line needs to do is, I think they have an advantage against this Rams offensive line. I think that most weeks, frankly, and they need to get in Stafford's face. Stafford's not a quarterback who's going to move around the same way as Sam Howell did last week, for instance. So if the Eagles get pressure, they'll be in his face. But Matthew Stafford can beat you with his arm much more than Sam Howell could.
I still sort of can't get past this, Zach. Like, Cooper Kupp is coming back in this game. Like, probably the best slot receiver in the NFL when they put him there. Do you think that Cooper Kupp is shaking in his boots at the thought of having to go up against Mario Goodrich?
I don't have a good Goodrich explanation right now, to be honest with you, because it's not as if he was like an injured player who's just coming back, or he's someone like they've actively sought not to play him in recent weeks. They played Sidney Brown there. They played
not
David
even
Bradbury
dress
there.
him.
Yeah, so I was surprised to see that, but I still am expecting to see Bradley Roby. I do think they're sensitive to the fact that Bradley Roby hasn't played in a month, that he's just coming back, and that he might not take the full allotment of snaps. And because you'll see the Rams in 11 personnel quite a bit, and the Eagles will have their slot cornerback on the field quite a bit, that perhaps they're saying, all right, let's get Goodrich ready to play maybe 30% of these slot snaps or 40% of these slot snaps, and Roby will take the others. That's not me reporting it. That's me speculating it, because it would be a surprise to me if Mario Goodrich is the full-time slot corner, given what they've done not to play Mario Goodrich to date.
Yeah, it's crazy. Go ahead.
So Zach, the Rams have against tight ends so far this year. It's growing. It's snowballing. The first week was their best week guarding the tight end. Last week they gave up 107 yards to the Colts tight ends. I heard you and Bo talking this week about Dallas Goedert and how kind of behind he is, even in terms of last year's slow start. Is this the Goedert game? Do we finally get the Dallas Goedert game here in the offense today?
I do think they're going to try to get Goddard the ball. Now, I would imagine there's some early touches for Goddard, similar to what you saw in week 2, because it has been a storyline. Frankly, I think when the Eagles look at their matchups here, where they like their matchups the most are on the outside with AJ and with Devontae against these outside corners. You saw Akilah Weatherspoon, for instance, last year when he was in Pittsburgh. This is not a defense that has Jalen Ramsey like they did in the past. That said, I do think Dallas Goedert's going to be involved quite a bit. And then speaking of Dallas Goedert this week, one of the big things he noted was he's not catching the ball with his body toward the defense this year. He's catching with his back to the defense, and that's why he's not getting those yards after the catch. So I think what the Eagles need to do, and this is it's incumbent upon Nick Sirianni and Brian Johnson to manufacture touches to get him the yards after the catch. He's been a prolific yards after the catch tight end during his career. You're seeing those numbers drastically down this year, and I think that's because of the way he's being used. So I would pay attention to see if they have more of those tight end screens or those quick throws to the tight end to get him into space so he can run after the catch.
Obviously, everything for the Rams defense, Zach, starts with Aaron Donald. You and I have talked this week about how historically the Eagles have done a pretty good job against him, despite having a bunch of different offensive linemen in there. Obviously, from the outside, you're looking at a potential matchup with Sua Opeta. You would sort of circle that as probably advantage Rams. What is your sense of how important isolating Aaron Donald has been for the Eagles in putting together this offensive game plan?
I think it's been their entire focus, Bo. I think it's been like the one thing that they are obsessed with going into this week or their game plan is starting with 99, and to make sure that they know where he is and how he's being protected, or how he's being blocked, I should say, on every single snap. That's where they're starting this week. It's not a situation where you have 99 and 5. That was Jalen Ramsey a year ago, and you kind of have to account for him. I think they're really saying this defense is about 99, know where 99 is, and with Sua Opeta, that's more pronounced, but it's going to be a situation where that is the focal point of this offense going into the game.
So, Zach, this is more for my fellow bettors out there on DraftKings. I noticed that DeAndre Swift's rushing total is a bit higher this week than it has been in the first 3 weeks out there.
Zach's been betting it up.
Yeah. I know that the Eagles are terrified of announcing a running back one, but do you fully expect your boy DeAndre to get the full workload again today with a sprinkling of whom behind him?
I am expecting that trend to continue with DeAndre Swift. And it'll be a heavy Swift Gainwell game, but Swift is going to take the majority, not just the plurality, but the majority of the carries. I think situationally, though, you'll continue to see Kenny Gainwell. You'll continue to see Kenny Gainwell in hurry up, in red zone, and I said hurry up, no huddle situations. They like Gainwell there, but I'm not surprised that the Swift number is higher. That seems like a market correction because he is their lead running back, even if he's not their undisputed workhorse running back.
And just from reading the Rams coverage this week, it seems like they are a little bit more susceptible on the edge than up the middle. And so you would imagine that a chance maybe for DeAndre Swift to bounce some big runs in this game. Zach, for the big Berman lovers in the chat, give us the the lay of the land there at SoFi Stadium. Are they happy to see you? What's the spread like? Give us the press box reaction.
An incredible stadium. Okay, I've been now to every active stadium, like you teased before, and some defunct stadiums too. And this one is high up on the list. It's stunning. When I took some time to walk around, and it really is impressive because I did I've read a lot of articles about this stadium before because of where it is relative to the airport. Okay, they had to build it into the ground, right, because of the clearance. So you actually walk in at what will be like the 400 level at the Link, for instance, right? So you walk in and then you look down at the stadium. Actually, Michigan stadiums like that as well. I thought that was really cool. Walked around, got a chance to see different parts of it. It's still relatively new. It opened 2020. It's clean. It's cavernous. I mean, it is huge. A lot of natural light because they have that. What's a translucent roof? I think I'm using it correctly. A translucent roof.
Sounds about right.
It is. Yeah. So SoFi is really impressive. It's in Inglewood, more so than Los Angeles.
Inglewood. So Zach, people really want to know, what's the food spread up there? Is it all soy burgers and vegetables and real California foo-foo stuff, or are they bringing the heat in the press box with the food?
Sorry, I was getting carried away with the translucent roof. I didn't get into the food spread part of the question. So it's breakfast, right? It's breakfast food, but I'm on Philly time here. So it's a little late for, the eggs and the French toast or whatever they have.
I respect that. Yeah.
Prepackaged sandwiches, and I had a sandwich. Am I frozen? Oh, I'm back.
No, you're good now.
No, we're good. We busted out. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll see what they have at halftime. But I had a nice breakfast at the hotel this morning, and I'll have a nice dinner afterwards tonight. But as far as the press box food, it was breakfast, and it was a little later for me for breakfast.
All right. Well, we look forward to the recap after the game, Zach. Enjoy your view, and not since you first saw a young Jennifer Love Hewitt have I ever heard you so excited as you were describing that stadium.
Well, that was an exciting time. I agree with that. All right, I'll talk to you guys after the game.
Thanks, Zach.
Of the three named, I guess, early aughts, queens, I was more of a Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah,
man.
I was a Buffy fan too.
Yeah. But Jennifer Love Hewitt certainly had her day.
That was Zach's. Yeah, that was Zach's.
But Sarah Michelle Gellar
at the time.
What up?
I'm sure she's watching.
Yeah, big fan.
Let's get to our best bets, Jamie. You've got quite a record to uphold.
I do, and I'm nervous about it.
Yeah, I think
I got a lot on the line.
5-1 through 3 weeks here. We do 2 best bets for the pregame show every week. I can go first if you want.
Yeah, because I'm having a hard time finding mine in Slack. So,
now I am doubling down on one that I went for last week, and it's part of the thing that Zach talked about. I really think that the Dallas Goedert lack of production is a thing that is sort of beginning to simmer behind the scenes. Dallas Goedert is so involved in the offense beyond his production as a receiver. He's so good as a blocker, but I think it's on their radar that they need to. I
think so. It's got to be, right?
Make this guy happy, and I don't know if they can force receiving production as much as they can maybe force a target or two in the red zone. And so I'm going to go with a Dallas Goedert touchdown for the second straight week at I think it's plus 235. So I'm taking that.
I like that.
And then
I agree with you. It's easier to probably get him a touchdown than it is amount of yards.
In theory, but this is like classic gambler's fallacy. I bet it last week, it didn't hit. Now I'm just bouncing back. I know that I'm being dumb here. But and then I'm also going Rams over 22.5 points. I almost don't believe that it's going to be Mario Goodrich in the slot against Cooper Kupp. I think that might be a bit of a red herring. However, the things that the Rams do, all of the motion, leaning into some of those bunch formations. I think that they are, in some degree, designed to take advantage of where the Eagles are weak. They throw the ball over the middle of the field well. We know that the Eagles struggle at linebacker and pass coverage. I think the Rams are going to be able to score in this game, and so I'm going over 22.5 points.
Yeah, I like both your thoughts there with that. For me, I'm also going to keep it in the Dallas Goedert universe, but I'm not going to go touchdown. I'm going to go the opposite of what we just talked about. To me, 34.5 yards, if they can't get him over that, something's up. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's the way defenses are playing him. Maybe Hurts not getting rid of the ball quick enough and letting him make some yards after the catch like Zach just talked about. So I think he should be able to get to 35 yards. The other one I'm going to take, it just jumped out to me as great value, and that's Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown score.
Sure.
You only have to lay minus 130 to get that. To me, that's really not
a short yardage running back, right?
Yeah, it's really not a lot to lay to get something that is, basically like a third of all Eagles touchdowns. So I'm kind of, I think, playing it a little safe there to protect the record with the minus 130 anytime touchdown.
I like that. It's
but
okay.
I want to protect that record a little bit.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
You got a reputation to uphold.
I do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else that is sort of on your radar about this game as we prepare for
Puka
kickoff?
and Kupp. I'm worried about the two of them. I think the Eagles secondary, while I think Slay and Bradbury have played well, and even Reed Blankenship has played well. When you say it like that, it's weird because that's 3/4 of your secondary.
Right.
But they seem to let up a lot over the middle. And that revolving other safety spot and Mario Goodrich versus, I don't know, Eli Ricks versus, Roby off the street. How does that come into effect today? I'm worried about that middle of the field getting picked on. So that's my big concern, is those two. It's right up there in terms of this season only with AJ and Devontae as in terms of a 1-2 punch.
Yeah,
given that
fair.
Kupp is back somewhat to
all
a normal
expectations,
play.
it seems like the reporting is that he's going to be full go, Cooper Kupp. There aren't going to be restrictions on him snap count wise. Nakua is interesting because the lion's share of his production, almost 90% of his receiving production this year, has come against zones. He's his early superpower is finding the soft spot in zones, and I think that goes to this is a secondary in transition. It's hard to expect them to be perfect, right? This is game 5, and it's going to be their 5th different set of 5 different corners and safeties in the backfield. So they haven't had the same group. It's a new scheme to begin with.
Sure.
They're you're going further down the depth chart, so you can't really have super high expectations. And I think that there are going to be holes. And I think that
Cunningham
is going to be able to find those holes.
Yeah, I'm worried about the linebackers in coverage. I just saw Polar Jam in the chat mention that too. Nicholas Morrow had a great game last week, and Cunningham has looked serviceable. But in the passing game, they're kind of getting picked on.
Yeah, they're doing better than expected in terms of filling the run and even playing sideline to sideline a little bit. But yeah, in the passing game,
that's an Achilles heel.
It's not what they're here for.
So I am worried about the two of those guys today. I mean, that's something. And look, Stafford, if you're not hitting them and making that hip feel uncomfortable, he can pick you apart, and he can find those soft pockets that Puka can find, and Tyler Higbee, who's given the Eagles some problems in the past. They have a nice offense on paper. So real curious to see how Sean Desai plays this one. If they are getting gashed for those yards, is it the kind of bend don't break thing where you can lock it in the red zone and kind of keep out the touchdowns a little bit? We'll see. It's going to be an interesting defensive day, I think.
I think that's right. And as you talked about before, you want to see the defensive line, make an impact in this game.
I want to see them get hit
against an offensive line that's just okay.
Yeah, somebody in the chat said I'm predicting a big Hassan Reddick day. I hope so, because he looked better last week than he had in the first 3 weeks.
Got his first sack, yeah.
So if him and Sweat could really get going today, their athleticism could cause some problems for the Rams.
All right, let's get to our predictions, Jamie. How do you see this one?
I've been torn on this. I feel like you a little bit 2 weeks ago. I'm going back and forth. The other day, I had the Rams winning. I had this being the first Eagles loss, but the vibes are too great right now in Philadelphia.
Okay.
I don't think the Eagles are going to let this great weekend down. I got them winning 34-28.
Okay, I like it. As you talked about a couple weeks ago, on the Friday show, I predicted the Bucs were going to win, and then I let time sink in. got closer to game time, and I figured, let's be serious here. The Eagles are going to win this game. They're not going to lose this game.
Baker Mayfield.
Now there's a part of that that's you like to have it both ways. I can take credit either way. That's fine. This week, again on Friday, I predicted the Rams to win this game. Once again, I've let time pass. We get closer to kickoff. Have I changed my mind? The answer is no.
Ooh.
I'm sticking with it. I just think that this particular matchup is not great for the Eagles. I think they're going to struggle to defend the pass in this game. And I have to see them play their best game before I believe that I'm going to see it.
So that's kind of where I broke from you there, because I do agree with everything you just said, but I'm betting on them putting it together today.
Sure.
Maybe not defensively, but offensively. For some reason, I think Jalen looked his best last game and in the second half. So I think that's going to, in my mind, keep rolling. And that's why I ended up flip-flopping back to the Eagles a little bit.
And I kind of think if I'm wrong and the Eagles do win this game and win it handily, I think the guy you talked about earlier, I think this could be a big DeAndre Swift game. I think that could be, if they're going to be able to lean on the Rams in this game, I think it could be a big DeAndre Swift game. But on the record, I am taking the Rams, and so I'll take the booze in the chat.
Provocative.
Act like a Braves fan and throw your stuff at me on the field. But
what scumbags?
Yeah, for now, that'll do it. So Jamie and I will be back along with Zach on the post-game show immediately after the game. Be sure to join us for that. Until then, enjoy the game, everybody. For Andrew and Jamie and Zach and
Go
Jennifer,
Birds.
I'm Bo. We thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And as always, we love you.